Welcome back to Stat 7 Sports. I'm the contained Kunas, and happy Lundy Girl to y'all all. And let me just give a brief reaction to this coming weekend and to what's coming up in the near future. LSU struggles in the first matchup to where you get fans all through all sorts of social media just wanting to fire Maneri, fire the hitting coach that just got hired on. And all the noise is coming back on here. I'm going to say one thing on this and one thing only. It hurts to say this, but whenever LSU is as big of a brand and has as high of expectations as they do, you're going to get the highs and lows of social media with all the support that they get. Whenever they're really good, there's high expectation to where it's make it to Omaha or bust. Whenever things seem to look lackluster, especially in this early part, whenever LSU was 3-3 on the season to start, you're going to get everyone wanting to fire everyone's heads. And it's good to see that they were able to overcome that rough start to the weekend and respond with two solid wins on Saturday and Sunday. Landon Marceau goes 8 shutout innings in 80 pitches, and then AJ Labus goes 7 innings, 4 hits, 2 earned runs. Both the runs he gave up on RBI on a 2-run double in the 6th, and also only had 67 pitches for it. 71 pitches. So very solid starts on both their ends, even though the fact that they scored 10 runs on that third game is a little bit misleading just for the fact that they only had 8 hits on the game, and all 10 of their runs were scored by the 4th inning. 2 in the first, 7 in the third, and 2 and 1 more in the 4th. Where especially in that 3rd inning, they had 7 runs on 5 hits. Eastern Carolina, the Colonels had 2 errors and a walk, so they were able to build off of mistakes, which a good team has to be able to do. So let's just go ahead and look at the positives for the weekend. It's kind of what you expect for this. Even though Henry had kind of a rough outing, he did get the team to be able to still be in the game out besides him only going 5 innings. Each of the starting pitchers were able to had an 80 pitch limit, so they were able to build off of last week's outing where both Landon Marceau and AJ Labus kind of struggled, only be able to go 4 1/3 innings with their 70 pitches of work that they had. Both of them could have gone even further, but as both games seemed to be a little out of hand, they ended up going to the bullpen. But speaking of the bullpen, outside of the 9th inning for Aaron George, where he just didn't have any control on his stuff, where he gave up all 3 runs that LSU gave up on that Saturday game in the 9th, so they had to get Devin Fontenot to come in to shut everything down. Didn't give a hit, and that ended up being 6-3. But even with George's outing, everyone else in the bullpen, they only gave up 1 hit on the entire weekend, and that was by Jaden Hill, where Hill went 2 1/3 innings, had 5 strikeouts. He also had 3 walks on Friday, which I'll talk about a little later. But you got offensively, pretty much outside of the Friday game, all your usual suspects were able to contribute with what you have to expect from them. Mathis, Cabrera had the only homer. Beloso was very good this entire weekend. He was one of the only 3 hitters to be able to get base hits. It was just Beloso, Garza, and Maurice Hampton, who I actually think is going to be a solid player to be able to come up in the lineup, as he's really the only freshman that's really shown up out with him and Milazzo at the plate. So overall 14 hits, a homer, 11 RBIs. LSU had 14 RBIs on the entire weekend, so it's most of their offense. The issue with that is if that's most of their offense, everyone else that's really on the team, most of them are freshmen, but everyone else really struggled. Where the rest of the freshmen had 3 hits on the weekend, 2 of them by Maurice Hampton, and 1 ended up being by Alex Mamazo. So I think Hampton could end up building and becoming that starting center fielder. Now, I know I end up saying they have issues defensively, even if it is only 2 errors. One thing that ended up happening because of this is their starting second baseman who was doing solid, was going to be a solid second baseman very early in that opening weekend, really has kind of struggled on both ends, offensively and defensively, to where he had an error in his first attempt in the Saturday game. So after that, he got benched for Gavin Dugas. And at this point, those are going to be the 2 battling for that starting second base position. Now, Doty is probably going to be the better offensive player. Dugas really hasn't been able to show too much outside of a home run or bust type of player, where he struck out about 40% of his bats so far, but he has a homer and is able to get on base in different ways, not really so much as, like, he'll get walks, he'll get homers, and he'll strike out. That's your 3 options for Dugas. But Maneri wants to be able to have a stronger fielding team, so that's why Dugas played at second the rest of the weekend. Then the only issue you really have for a team with the pitching, outside of Henry's subpar but not terrible outing, is the fact that they end up giving up so many free passes. 10 walks in the entire weekend, including 3 hit batters, 3 wild pitches. 7 of those walks were on Friday, so they did kind of pick it up after then. 3 by Henry, 3 by Hill, and 1 by Matthew Beck. So, for the most part, the pitching was very solid through the entire weekend. It's going to end up becoming a bigger challenge coming up this weekend as they end up going to Minute Maid, where they end up going against 3 different Big 12 teams with Texas, Baylor, and Oklahoma. That's going to give more stress on the pitching staff, and hopefully we can get some of these freshmen to be able to improve off of their slow starts and be able to kind of build a bottom part of the lineup that can end up contributing towards, once we get towards SEC play, which there is actually only two more weekends before SEC play starts. This one in Houston, and then they play UMass Lowell the following weekend, and then you go against SEC staffs, and it's going to be another level. So you got to hope that our offense can improve and the pitching staff can end up staying stable and building off of this early success. But after this, you'll be expect that I'll end up discussing some New Orleans Pelicans information for the fact that the Pelicans are actually just getting off the All-Star break, and they're trying to get themselves towards that 8th playoff position to where they're only 3.5 games back, but I'll discuss that otherwise, and with Zion. And then I'll come back to college basketball because I do have a little special video that I know people don't kind of understand the full logic off of it, but I'll explain that later. But please, if you like this, please like, subscribe, share this out to other people. I'm going to try to keep this going probably at least 3 or 4 videos a week. So every other day at the very least. But with that all being said, I'm the Contained Kunas. This is Stat7 Sports, and I'll see y'all next time.